I'm finna help y'all take a woman on a date because you boys are lost out here. So you want to text her early in the rising when you know she at work or getting ready for work. You're going to start small talk, rich risings, how your day going so far, what you eat for breakfast, wooty wooty wop. Then you're going to be like, I don't want to hold you too long, I got to get to work myself. You're going to send her $20 to $25 and say lunch on me today. And if you one of them dudes that think sending lunch money is tricking, then you need to take your swimming trunks off and get out the dating pool. Next, you're going to text her a few hours later and you're going to ask her what your schedule look like Friday, what you got going on. She'll probably say something like, oh, I got to work, but after that, I'm free. Once she tell you she free, do not ask this woman if she want to go on a date. Of course she wants to go on a date. She not talking to you just to be talking to you, bro. Of course she wants to be wine and dine. Don't say no lame shit there, dog. Once she say she free, you gonna take the lead and you gonna tell her what the plans are.
Welcome back to the channel, and you see what's on the screen so you know what I am about. And this was a really interesting video, that popped up in my feed, and it actually has about 4 parts. So we're gonna go through all of the parts. I've actually already seen it a couple of times actually, because I was trying to make sure that I, really got, to the meat of every single thing. And if you've been hanging out with me on this channel, you already know that I really do try to keep things as balanced as possible. And I even have done interviews and other, videos with women because, like I said, I'm always trying to look at it from the woman's point of view, and I'm also trying to look at it from the men's point of view. And I also know that there are a lot of people that follow me, so if you're new to my channel, about 45% of the people that follow me are women, and I do talk to women all the time about certain things, and I talk to men, evidently, since most of the people that follow me are men, right? So with all of that being said, let's get started. So I kind of think I see where he's going, for the first part, right? And we're also going to go through these comments because there's a lot of stuff going on in the comments because evidently, this is a big thing. Every time you started talking about dating, it's always a big thing, right? So this has literally over 100,000 likes, and I can't see exactly how many comments, but when I did a scroll through earlier, it was a lot of them, right? So again, let's get to it. So the very first part of it, when he's just talking about engaging the woman, and even when he starts to talk about, of course, she wants to go on a date, I agree with that. Most women, if they are kind of letting you know that their schedule is free, for a lot of the men that are watching right now, that is 100% true. That is kind of their way of telling you that, hey, I am free. I definitely want to spend time with you. Yes, let's go on a date. All right. Now, the two things about what he says that I disagree on, and I'm sure there's going to be some women that may or may not like what I have to say, but remember what my channel is about, as it says on the screen. I am not teaching you how to date well. I am teaching you how to get married, okay? And these are two totally different things. And again, I don't think a lot of people really think about that, but they really are two totally different things. So, when he starts to talk about guys send her $25 for lunch money, and then he even kind of tries to make it like, well, if you don't do that, you're kind of a loser. I'm sorry. I'm not sending a woman that I do not know money, just for her to go out, to lunch. Now, it's different if we've been talking for a while, or something like that, and maybe we've just never gotten around to it. There have been times when I've been out of town and I might have been talking to somebody before I left, and then I'm like, well, that's something that I might think about. It still wouldn't be a 100% thing, but that might be something I think about, right? And again, we got to think about how much money everybody has. And, I put up videos, and it's always interesting how people never really look at the bigger scheme of things when people start to talk in the comments, because, it's a huge difference between a man that is making, $100,000 a year versus a man that's making $50,000 a year versus even a man that's making way over here and $250,000 a year. These are all different amounts, right? And it also depends upon how much the man likes the woman. And honestly, what his flow is, what is his end game, But what I've noticed about any woman that is very serious about, getting married, she is not going to be overly worried about whether or not a man pays for her lunch, pays for, the dinner or anything like that. She just wants to be respected and appreciated. And a lot of the date is about appreciation and about the man showing that he has that quality, to protect and provide, right? So it's like I said before, it's more about protection and provision and showing the woman that you actually have that energy. But that's a totally different energy to kind of try to be show-offy. Now, I'll admit, like I said, if you did some of the things that he's talking about, that probably as a man would kind of shoot you to the top of her list, just simply because, most women don't get that kind of treatment. However, some women will definitely take advantage of that. And then some of them might even call you lame or even start to raise red flags in their head because they're like, what kind of guy does this? So it could be, actually, kind of hurt you a little bit, just as much as he's believing that it will help you. But remember, it's all about the people that you're talking to. It's all about your demographic. It's all about where you are, okay, in, the world, just to be honest. Because most of the women, like I said before, because for the new people, there's an organization that I help lead, and that organization is called Christian Singles Connect. There is, evidently links to it in the description. And a lot of the women over there, they're so concerned about marriage that they don't even care if they get taken out on a date. Their main concern is to interact with the man and actually talk to him, get to know him. And so that is really not one of their concerns. So again, dating well and getting married are really two totally different things. And I'm always talking about a woman taking ownership. All right. And a man just throwing away money, on little bitty things is not really a woman, allowing that woman to come in and kind of take ownership. And it kind of puts her in, an interesting position, right? All right, so the second part of what he said at the beginning, again, I 100% agree with the fact of you taking the lead. A lot of women do complain that men are not taking the lead anymore. And so we talk a lot about that over on this channel because one of the non-negotiables that a lot of women are looking for in men is that they protect, provide, but then there's also this other piece of leadership, right? And so a woman really wants you to take the lead. And I 100% agree with that side of what he said. And this is why I really always am encouraging people to kind of understand where they are and what their natural temperament is. And if you're the type of person that doesn't really take the lead a lot, I do encourage you to get into books and different things like that. And I also encourage you to actually go to the place before, or at least understand a little bit more about the place before the woman shows up. So for instance, there are people who will, pick a woman up, and then there are also situations, I know here in Atlanta, a lot of women would prefer to meet you there, especially on the very first date. So if you're going to a place you've never been before, I definitely encourage the men to get there about 15 minutes early so that you can kind of walk the place, you can figure out where the bathroom is, and you can actually look at the menu. And the reason why I'm saying this is so that you can calm down and that you can relax a little bit, because when you're nervous, that actually throws the woman off, right? So if you know that you are prone to nervousness, that you're prone to be worried about this, that, and the third, then you want to make sure that you actually go ahead and take care of that early, all right? Now, again, this final thing about whining and dining, because I think I already kind of, like I said, I already seen the video, so I kind of know where he's going. Again, don't get overly concerned about that. Because again, there's a huge difference between women that want to be out here and they want to be, really dated well, and the women that are in the marriage energy, wife energy. And a woman who wants to be dated well generally is not in that wife energy. These are two totally different energies. It doesn't mean that your wife doesn't want you to do things for her. Okay, that's important, to understand. But a lot of women who are walking in wife energy understand that might not show up on the first date. It might show up more on like maybe the first month anniversary or the 3-month anniversary or the 6-month anniversary.
Now that you told her y'all going on a date, now you have to actually plan the date, bro. Be thoughtful. Don't go pick shorty up and just try to walk in somewhere. No, we don't do that. That's not player. Make reservations. You know how impressive it is to a woman walking into a 5-star restaurant with her date and he say, yeah, I have reservations for such and such and such and such. She gonna lose her. She gonna be like, him. He really like that. But before the date, bro, go to the mall and get you some grown and sexy attire. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You can spend $50 to $150, bro. Get you some nice slacks. Get them tailored. Don't go with no baggy goddamn on slacks on, bro. Get them tailored. Get you some hard bottoms. You can get you a polo style shirt, tuck it in. You can get you a button down, a blazer, man. Just be player. And make sure you smell good, bro. Don't smell good for you. Smell good for her. Don't wear what you think smell good because you might like Axe. That don't smell good, bro. Wear some cologne that's a...
In this part, honestly, this piece, I'm probably about 90% in agreement with what he said in this piece. The only part that I'm kind of really more in disagreement about than any of it is, number one, the 5-star. You don't have to do no 5-star. Like I've told you guys before, you know, you can take her to a place like the Cheesecake Factory. I know there are going to be women that are going to be upset about that. They're not going to like that. But again, it's a huge difference to me between a woman that is trying to date to get married and a woman who wants to date well. All right. And there's a lot of women out here that really want to date well. And then there's this energy constantly where women are saying, well, I will show up for him if he shows up for me first. And again, I don't really agree with that. That really kind of shows you that that the woman is in a place of hurt and she hasn't quite healed yet. So she's kind of looking and trying to see whether or not, you know, the man is going to do first. Right. So for me, like, you know, and I've said this before, every single person I take out is pretty much gets almost the same treatment. You don't have to do a lot, you know, especially in the beginning, because her interest should be to you. It should not to be to all this extra, you know, fancy things going on. And that's really important. But again, if you want to date well, if you want to really show off to this woman, if you think that this is the best woman, you know, that you've ever run into, then again, knock yourself out. And even to the point he was making earlier in the last part, when he was talking about, you know, you be on the phone with her, you know, making niceties and different things like that. And then you try to hurry up and get off the phone. Okay, again, Alpha Male Strategies, there's another guy named Alpha Male Strategies, and he was trying to say the same thing. And again, this is all about your energy. And again, most people out here that are trying to teach you how to date, they're trying to teach you how to date in their energy. And that's one of the main things that I'm always talking about. And it's so important for you not to do this, because all it does is ends up taking you down a place of failure, right? Like for me, and I've said this before, and this is what I encourage every single man to do and woman, to be honest with you. If you cannot be on the phone with a woman for 30 minutes to an hour, why in the world you're even taking her out on a date? See, a lot of men, their whole concept is just to smash, to hit it, you know, to blow the back out, whatever you want to call, right? And that's their whole aim. And if that's your aim, then exactly what he's saying is going to work. But again, to me, when I lean into that and all the money he's putting into it, it just kind of turns the woman into kind of like a high stakes call girl, because in his mind, he's thinking, well, I done bought her this, I done done this, and I done this, I done put the outfit on. So within 1 or 2 weeks, I'm going to hit it. And all that money I put into it is just the price. You see what I'm saying? But it's totally different when you're dealing with a woman, like I said, that wants to get married. And when she wants to get married, she has, like I said, the whole vibe is just different. And so now when you're on the phone, she's going to be very concerned about being on the phone with you. She's going to be very concerned about talking to you, because if she can't talk to you, then she knows she can't create a relationship with you, especially if she's healed. All right. Now, there are different personalities that work different ways, and some women really don't like to talk. All right. And then you have to figure out whether or not that's going to work for you, because as a man, you know, you might not be a talker either. So if you're not a talker, yeah, just follow what he is saying, but then you're still going to have some hard conversations to find out who she is on the inside. But for me, I'm a talker. So if you can't talk to me, you know, for 30 minutes to an hour on the phone, then we'll never get to a date, because I don't want to be sitting across from someone and I'm just smiling and flirting with them all night. I want somebody that can actually hold a real conversation. So again, it's just, you know, this is why I go over videos like this, to make sure, like I said, that there's balance. Now, again, the reservation, I definitely 100% agree that you should have, like I said, the reservations. Like I said, that's a good one. Also about the clothes, I'm always telling you all about clothes. You should be upping your clothing game. And while this video is leaning more towards men, it's kind of for women too, but most women have 2 or 3 outfits in their closet that they've never worn, that they're ready to wear, and that they're excited about wearing. And as a man, you should have about 3 or 4 outfits that you can go to in your closet that's ready. You should not really have to run to the mall in order to make this happen. You should already have it. And then that's why I'm always telling you all, buy the clothes, in the off season, or even, as you start to see sales, right? You don't want to have to buy things at the last minute, because then that's how you waste a lot of money. All right. Now, again, what he was trying to talk about is more wearing a suit, because he said like hard bottoms, different things like that. So he's trying to lead you more into a jacket and suit. And the issue with that is you have to line up with the energy that you are. Okay. And that's really important as well, because like I said, every woman is different and every man is different. And we have this society where we're trying to always lean people down this one path, saying that this one path is right and that all the other paths are wrong. Okay, so if you have to, and if you feel comfortable, and if you feel led, yes, do the whole shirt, jacket, or nice shirt, like he said, hard bottom type of thing. But if you really aren't feeling that, that's not really you have more of an artsy vibe or whatever it is, then, and you feel like she has an artsy vibe, then go with that vibe. Just rock and roll with what you have, okay, based off of your personality. Okay, because you really want to find people like your personality. It's one of the problems with the dating world, is that everybody's trying to date everybody, not recognizing that really you should kind of date in your lane, especially if your lane can work for you. Now, if your lane ain't been working for you, that's when you really need to change it up.
Wear some cologne that's appealing to women. Now you smelling good, you looking presentable. Now it's time to go pick shorty up. When you go pick shorty up, never go empty-handed, bro. Absolutely always take flowers. Show up to the door with roses. She gonna take those roses to the restaurant because it's like a form of flaunting and showing off and showing everybody, yeah, my date treated me like a queen.
All right, so the cologne thing, I 100% agree with him on the cologne. One of the things that I'm always encouraging both men and women to do is never throw away friend zone people. You really want to have about 2 or 3 friend zone people that you keep up with at all times. And the reason why you do this is because you want to make sure that the cologne that you're wearing, for the men, or the perfume, a lot of women don't care as much, but I do find that, and I've been on some dates with some women, that cologne, their perfume just wasn't smelling good. All right. And it was evident they picked it and it wasn't a man that picked it. So one of the things that I definitely encourage, people to do, if you can, is try to go out there, take your friend zone person, out with you when you buy your cologne, i.e. or perfume, right? Because that way that the opposite sex, especially the opposite sex that's very close, to what you're looking for, likes that cologne or likes that perfume. Because you could have cologne on, and then the woman's thinking the whole night like, ooh, you smell like crap, right? But when you have a situation where, a lot of women that you run into like that cologne, then more than likely she's going to like that cologne. Like I said, for me, what I try to do is I find a cologne that I think I like, or maybe 2 or 3 that I think I like. I take one of my friend zone women out there with me. She'll smell it. And then if she gives me a thumbs up, I really try to find another friend zone woman and take her out. And if she gives it a thumbs up, then I might take a date on a mall date or something like that. And if she gives it a thumbs up, it's a buy. It's like I really want at least 2 or 3 women to say, yeah, that's it. Because at that point, I know that the average woman that I'm going to take out is going to really like, the way this stuff smells on me. But I've had a lot of colognes that I picked up, that I've even purchased in the past, and then I'll get around a woman and she's like, ugh, that's not really hitting. And you always know if it smells good because you'll get a compliment. If she doesn't give you a compliment, she really doesn't like the way it smells. Because women are pretty good about giving compliments. They give each other compliments all the time. And that's something else that you might want to do, is try to find at least 1 or 2 things about her that you can give her a compliment on that night, right? So the final thing is the gift. Now, the gift thing can go up and down. Okay, this can hurt you or it can help you. It just depends upon what you want to do. Like he's saying roses, I think it could be any gift. Okay, but again, I just think it just depends upon what you want to do, the energy you're trying to bring forward, and like I said, how you feeling. Now, the women at CSC, Christian Singles Connect, they actually believe that you should not bring a gift on the first date. Okay, and I've even brought gifts on the first date where the woman actually later on, as we had conversations, she actually saw it as a red flag because she was thinking in the world that we live in now, men don't do that. And so it was throwing her off a little bit. So again, that one is going to be, your mileage may vary. But what I've learned from me and like listening to the women at CSC, I don't really encourage it on the first date. I see it more on the second or third date type of deal. And then you could even say, hey, I do love to give gifts, blah, blah, blah. Because by then, you're already on a second date with her. She's already interested. So it doesn't really matter. And it's a little bit more, it's a little bit easier, for you to, make that transition. Now, like I said, he's trying to really build this big stage at the very beginning. And that is how some men work. They really want to build that big stage. But again, it's how you date. Right. And one of the things that I'm always encouraging you is you can try to go out here and date like a lot of these guys, or you can just try to figure out your own flow. But I think you figuring out your own flow is going to get you the woman that you want. OK, and I understand that there's some women that are watching and say, well, I don't get this and we don't get this and blah, blah, blah. But I'm always telling the women, if you pick well, you will get those things. And it's like I've said before, I've had women that I've dated. I probably say about half of them, well over half of them, will say that I was the man that they had been praying for, that I was doing everything that they wanted a man to do. And then I've also had, women that have looked beyond me. They looked past me. And they were just trying to figure out what type of person I would be by maybe one or two chance encounters. And that's why I'm always encouraging women, talk to men. Don't just think that a man that's just going to pop up flirting a little bit or whatever it is, that's a good guy or a bad guy. You're going to have to actually talk to him a little bit. And that's another reason why I encourage phone calls.
Open every door for her. Don't let her touch no door. If she do, you look that woman in her eyes and you tell her, as long as you with me, I don't ever want to see you touch a door again. On the way to the restaurant, play nothing but 90s R&B. You can throw some 2000s R&B in there too, but nothing but 90s R&B, bro. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Now y'all at the restaurant, y'all got good drinks floating around, there's good dialogue. Make the night about her. Don't talk too much about yourself. Even if she asks you about yourself, redirect it and make it about her and show her how interested and intrigued you are in her. Once the date is over, take shorty home. Do not try to keep that woman out all night. Show her that you're responsible. You're going to walk her to her door. You're going to tell her how much of a great time you had, how beautiful she looked tonight, and you're going to tell her, as long as it's okay with you, I would love to do this again. Kiss her on the forehead and go home, bro.
With that, I do agree, again, with about 90% of it. I think, again, your mileage may vary, with different things. Like I said, here in Atlanta, the first date, a lot of women do not want you to pick them up. They just don't trust you like that. So they prefer to meet you actually at the place, but every place is different. I'm not sure where this guy is. So, and also his demographic, because, everybody's demographic is a little bit different. I think I've only picked up maybe 2 or 3 women in all the time that I have been dating, so it's just going to be, different, a little bit here and there. The other things really don't have a problem with, one of the things I think he's leaning to, he's not really saying, but by taking her home, and only allowing the date to be maybe 2 hours or so, you actually leave her wanting more, right? So it's better sometimes to leave on a high note than to allow that energy to go down. There's a part where the woman is really, she can remember that down point, right? So it's better sometimes to just go ahead and be done with it, move on, and, you pick it up, like I said, next time, because then her energy is going to be even higher. Because every part of the date, was perfect. All right, so let's get into these comments. So one of the first things is like this one lady says, ladies, be sure to show your appreciation. You can never say thank you enough. Stay off the phone, pay attention to him, blah, blah, blah. So she's just really giving women information. Another lady says the Dusties showing themselves in the comments, which is really more about a lot of men disagreeing with what he said. All right. So she's basically saying that a man that doesn't do this is a Dusty. And what I would say, again, is I think a portion of this is good. Like I said, if I take everything he said, I would say about 65-75% of it is good, but I wouldn't do the whole thing. If the woman wants to call me a Dusty, that's fine. But the bottom line is, I'm looking for marriage. I'm not looking for, like I said, dating well. And I just find that a lot of people that are in this energy, they're dating well, but they're not necessarily, marriage material. Here's somebody else, another woman. His advice was spot on, but guys, don't pretend to be respectful if that's really not what you are, because you don't have to maintain your nice guy image too long. I've had guys do all the bells and whistles in the beginning, and once they think they've got you and locked you in, they show their true colors. I'm not saying it's all men, but I've experienced it. Again, see, that's one of the things that I've noticed, and a lot of the women that I run into have also noticed that all these bells and whistles does not mean that it's a good man. And a lot of times men can waste their money, their energy, their time, and then the woman not be into you. And see, that's another reason why I just can't 100% amen, what he is saying. Here's another woman. These are all, going in order of the top. So, people get likes, they get shot to the top. So here's another woman. It's refreshing to see a man of color break down the way y'all, could have, treated your daughters. Thank God I had a father growing up. This is the standard. Again, so this is what I'm saying. Again, it's nice for a man to treat a woman well, but what she's basically saying, she's kind of agreeing, but I don't know how much she's agreeing with. But, it is what it is. So let's go all the way down. Let's see if we can find some men. So one woman I can see, this is not for the men that don't even like women for real, for real. And then another one says, fellas, y'all hating, and the woman dropping targets, who really goofy, shots out to him. So again, I think that I was trying to find a few men because I had seen some earlier. Okay, so the first guy I run into is bro been watching way too many movies. And I've seen some other ones that, again, were kind of against him. I was trying to find somebody that had a lot to say. Okay, here's one. Women love these videos, but yet if you make a video as a woman on how to treat a man properly, you have to be called a pick-me, and no one listens to her. We love telling men how to act and treat women, but we never want to teach women how to treat a man. And this is why phrases like as you should and the bare minimum exist, because it's normal for women to be rude and to give attitude. So really, honestly, what he said right there, he might be, again, remember your social media, lines up with what you watch. But I'll be honest, there are lots of videos out there that teach women, how to go on dates, how to treat men well, and different things like that. It's all about what you're watching. And unfortunately, like I said, social media feeds us what we've been watching. As it is, like I said, what I would encourage, people to do, if you want to take this advice as a guy, take it, your mileage may vary. But for me, I would not take, all of this advice. There's just a point where, like I said, you can literally do too much and you could just be spending money without getting a return. And like I said, I'm about finding you marriage-worthy women, and marriage-worthy women, I'll be honest with you, they're not going to be as concerned about the date itself. They're more concerned about the quality of the man. Now, that doesn't mean you disrespect them on the date or you take them to trash. Like I said, you don't take them to McDonald's. All right. But if you're taking them to someplace nice, if you are making reservations, if you are trying to look nice, blah, 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 and you treat them well, then that is a thumbs up, right? But the extra gifts, the extra, $25 to get her lunch, you don't really have to do all of that. And if she is a quality woman and she really wants to get married, then, she'll be okay with that. However, I will say this, if you do find, that she is, a marriage worthy woman, as we talk about over here, then I would encourage you to do a lot more for her, because marriage worthy women, as many men know, are actually rare. A lot of women think that they're all over the place, but they're actually very rare, because a lot of women have never really been taught how to be a wife. So when you do find that wife woman, I do encourage the men to treat them as best as they possibly could, to do as much as they possibly can for them, and not just on one or two dates, but also through the entirety, you know, of your hopefully future marriage. So anyway, I thought this was interesting. And like I said, got a lot of love, over 100,000 likes. So there's a lot of women really liking this. But again, I'm hoping that the men can, you know, learn something from it. Remember, there's a lot of information down there in that description. So go check that out. And please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you all in the very next video.